Hello everyone and welcome to a very first Let's Play of Victoria 2, A House Divided. We are going to be playing the USA over here. The starting date is 1836 and we're going to play through, probably all the way till the end of the game in, what is the official date? Is it 1920? That sounds about right. It may be a little past that. I'm not sure I know the exact date that it ends at. Anyhow, this is just a little bit of an introduction. I'll go through the interface and the demographics of the United States at this time and give a little head start. If you want to go ahead and watch the actual gameplay, go ahead to the next episode. I'll probably label this as episode 1. Pardon me, episode 0, and then the actual gameplay will be episode 1. So let's just hop right into it. For those of you who do not know, the first thing that you need to know about this game is that it is on a day-by-day basis, all the way up until all the way through the years until like 1920 when we start here, and so basically I can press this button and it'll start the game, and it'll take it just day by day. It's kind of turn-based if you've ever played a turn-based game, but it's like more, there are more turns, and turns are more often than you'd normally play. It's not like a game of Monopoly where you have a turn every 5 minutes. No, I mean it's a turn at the highest speed. You could have like 3 turns in a second, and so anyhow, let's just start off right over here on the right bottom. These are all of the different map modes. Like right now we're looking at the terrain. You can see the mountains and the woods and the well, of course you can always see the sea, but you can kind of see the desert in here, and so that's the terrain map mode, because you can see the terrain. Makes sense, doesn't it? And then over here we have the political map mode, and it shows what countries control where, and you can look all across everywhere and see the different countries. And so here we have the infrastructure, and basically this is railroads. Like right now I have the technology to where I could unlock, or to where I can build railroads, and the places in the red mean that I cannot upgrade the railroads and the areas, because the terrain itself, like right here, I can't build an Asheville, which is just the whole general vicinity, because it's mountainous. And so we go here. Yeah, I'd have to get 3 technologies in infrastructure and railroads in order to be able to build just one level. Over here we have diplomatic. Yeah, this is the green is of course yourself, and then I'm not sure I quite understand this one. For the record, I'll probably only ever use the political map mode. I'm a big fan of political map modes. I'm not entirely sure. It will definitely show what countries have claims and where, and like right here, zone in. I mean, this is Texas because 1836. Texas is their own little independent little thing, depending on who you talk to, I suppose. But if you look over here, right over here, then you'll see that both Texas and Mexico have claims. They're both claiming that area because, I mean, Texas was part of Mexico, and then they kind of revolted, and so those are the claims. you have regions. It just separates areas, and yeah, there are some areas that, you know, South Carolina is so tiny that it's counted as 2 with Georgia, or yeah. Washington D.C., District of Columbia, it's its own little thing. Here you have Massachusetts, which covers Rhode Island, New Hampshire, all that stuff. Oh wait, no, New Hampshire up there. Yeah, I'm bad with geography. And over here we have New England, even though I suppose technically New England's here. It's weird, and then, but you know, some states are large enough. You know, Texas is its own thing. California's ginormous. So yeah. And then we have revolt risk. The people love me right now. No one wants to leave, so we're fine. Administrative, it's like how well, you know, like how efficient our government is in those certain areas. And like, of course, you know, Washington D.C., it's 80% efficient, which compared to the rest of the country is pretty spot on. But you know, you get way out here and the administrative efficiency is 30% because it's just so far away from really any civilization. There's 1,000 people living in this giant space. I mean, the government can't do much to control them. They have lots of freedoms and stuff. Colonial map mode, this just shows the areas that can be colonized at the moment. Later on, you'll see this entire place go green probably around 1870. Anyhow, the green areas mean that they can be colonized. The yellow places mean that they have yet, or that they are being colonized. They are in the process of being colonized. Recruitment mode, basically this just shows where my soldiers are from. Here, I mean, we have armies. We have 12,000 troops, and you know, this 3,000 is from Albany, New York. They're from right there. And I think I understand it correctly. If you take Albany, then that'll hurt these soldiers somehow. It'll cut off their reinforcements, or there's really some weird complicated stuff about that. National focus, basically your country has like these specific focuses, and that like the government is specifically focusing on, and that, you know, it has a lot of influence, and it's like costing its political capital, I suppose. And so, I mean, the government can only do so much, and right now the government is trying to colonize Washington and Oregon. And then you have RGO output. Everything's blank right now because I don't have clicked on anything. But basically this just shows what areas produce what. Like here in Huntington, it produces coal. Here in Richmond, it produces tobacco. And, you know, down south, here in Montgomery and Atlanta and Valdosta, it produces cotton. And you can compare all across the world. The brighter the color, the more it produces in retrospect to the place that produces the most, which would be over here in China, probably. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Right here, I would assume. That's because they have a population of a million. So population has a big effect, but then also some technologies, but we'll get into that here in just a little bit. Population density, it just shows how dense the population is in that specific region. I can click here and it'll compare just to the country, and then, like Texas, I mean, the population is so dense compared to, you know, Lubbock. And in here, the darker the color, the more red the color, the denser the population. So nationality, you know, we have Yankees up here, Dixies, some African Americans, Native Americans, spheres of influence. We're not going to get into that now. Party loyalty. Once we have elections, you'll see like different places go blue and yellow, and that's just what areas tend to vote liberal and what areas tend to vote conservative and all that junk. Ranking. Basically, the greens are world powers. Blues are secondary powers. Yellows are civilized nations, and then reds are just, they're not even civilized. They're not westernized. They don't have the Western technology grants yet. And once uncivilized nations will attempt to civilize, and because it's better, there's better technologies. Basically, that's the only direction they can go with their technology, and that's what they want. So anyhow, I'm done over here. My voice is getting tired. So here we right here we have our production. It shows our top 5 domestic goods. We produce timber, grain, tobacco, coal, and cotton, and those are our 5 most produced goods. And then if we click on it, it'll show us our factories. It'll show our foreign investment, which we don't really take part in. It'll show us what all is being produced in the country. You know, these red areas, you know, we're not producing any dye or tropical wood. We're not producing any airplanes. And then the projects are basically what the capitalists are working on at the time. They're trying to build a railroad in New York, and that's perfectly fine. We want the capitalists to do that, because if they don't do that, then I would have to do it myself. And it's New York, as in like it's probably one of these places, or Long Island or somewhere, but it's not New York City. I guess that was kind of a bad example. Here's our budget. Here's our taxes. You know, we can raise it and lower it. And basically that's how much we get out of all of it. This is how much we have in our national bank, which is what the capitalists will draw out the money from to build those railroads and stuff. This is our expenditures. We have our national stockpile, which covers our military costs. We have our education, you know, funding schools. Administration is you know, it keeps the government running efficiently. And military spending, which, you know, you'd think, oh, it's the same thing as national stockpile, and not really, but they're both war military related. This covers the constant cost of like giving food and ammunition to the soldiers, and proper guns and all that kind of stuff. But this, it actually pays the soldiers and officers, and the higher that you raise it, the more likely that you will get more volunteers, because they're going to get paid more. And so here's the tariffs, and as our administration efficiency goes up, our tariff efficiency goes up as well. And so we'll probably end up raising that. I mean, it's not really a moneymaker, but it protects the industries that we have. Let me get that back down to here. There we go. Okay, and here we have our technologies, and this is really cool. So we have a business schools and tycoon. I don't know what is that. And tycoon capitalism. And basically, we get a disadvantage whenever we want to research our military technologies, but we get some assistance whenever we want to research other stuff. And so you have Army, Navy, Commerce, Culture, and Industry. Contrary to what everyone would think at first, commerce does not make you much money. It's really the industry, as far as actually making you money. Now, towards the end of the game, you'll notice yourself kind of weak if you have left out these commerce areas, because these help your factories. But factories don't really make all that much money, especially towards the end of the game, as there are more countries that become westernized, and it's really the most efficient countries that end up being able to survive whenever there's a world financial crisis, I suppose. So anyhow, and then that's our research, and this is how much we get. 6.53 research points a day. And like, for example, the first thing we'll probably do is get high and low pressure steam engines, because it'll make us a lot of money and it'll give us a good promising budget to start off with. And that's how many research points it cost. And so if I were to start research, it would, it would show up a date right here as to how far away we are and what date we're expected to get that research done. So here we have politics. We are a democracy. Duh. As of right now, the upper house, which I would... I mean, if anyone knows American government, this would probably be like the House of Representatives. I think-ish, kind of. Yeah, it wouldn't be the Senate. It'd be the House of Representatives. And we'll change some of these as liberals start to make changes in our country. Right now, we do have slavery allowed, because, we're dumb. And we think slavery's okay. Woo! Awesome. Not really. So here we have our 3 political parties. Yes, we have 3. We have the Southern Democrats, we have the Democrats, and then we have the Whigs. At this time, presidents really don't matter. It's really just whoever's in control of the upper house that really makes a difference as far as these reforms go. But it's who is voted in during your 4-year terms. Like, yeah, I suppose we just had an election, but we will have an election in 4 years, exactly 4 years, and whoever wins, these are their policies. It's their trade policies. Forget the Southern Democrats; they'll never get elected because they're gay. So like we have, free trade, and that's like the trade between countries, and that affects what limit the tariff has. Laissez-faire versus interventionism. Laissez-faire just gives more freedom to industry from me, in this case. Interventionism lets me like subsidize factories if they're starting to go under. I can assist here and there, but I can't actually build any factories, as opposed to state capitalism, where I can... Basically, it's more government control than it is free capitalism kind of thing. Religious policy, moralism, basically the church and the state are together, which gets fixed eventually. Full citizenship versus limited citizenship. Basically, this allows all cultures to vote. This allows just, the ones that are accepted, which I think right now are just Dixie. We'll get there in just a moment. Which are just Dixie and Yankee. I don't think African American can vote. No, of course they can't. I don't even know why I said that. War policy, pro-military versus jingoism. Jingoism is like, yeah, we're gonna go get them. Let's go fight. Let's it's destroy the world kind of. No, not really. But they take military very seriously. It says the military is the centerpiece of the state, and military spending is prioritized. So, yeah. Ooh, I didn't know all that. That's just down there. Okay. Anyhow. Movements. We don't have any movements. This tells us our rebels and all that stuff. Decisions. These are future decisions that we can make. And then release nations. We're never going to release nations. Bangor. Where is Bangor? I could release Canada? I could release Canada, and Canada could become a country? That's cool. Basically, yeah, like I just said, I could release countries, and they would take part of the land that they believe belongs to them. Yes, apparently New England could possibly be a country. It's weird. Anyhow, that's politics. Population. This is a mess. We'll cover this later. Trade. This just shows every single resource that's on the face of the planet, and it'll show the change in prices by those little arrows. Yellow means constant, green means that the price is going up, and red means the price is going down. And so yeah, if I hold it over the grain, it'll show us the top 5 producers. Right now it's the UK, because the UK is ridiculously powerful right now. Diplomacy, it shows the first 8 powers. We're all ranked by our prestige, our industry, and our military. And this is all added up to give us our total score. Right now we have a score of 60. That'll hopefully change eventually. Normally start higher. I guess it's because the high difficulty. I've never played on a high difficulty before, but I thought it would be appropriate if I'm doing a Let's Play to do it on the more difficult difficulty, I suppose. And then this is our army, which we can't build anything because we don't have any troops that aren't already in service. And our navy, we could always build more ships, but they cost a ton of money. Ooh, common freighters. Yeah, it would cost, yeah, like 1/10 of our treasury right now to build one ship. So they're plenty expensive, that's for sure. So yeah, I guess that's really all the review that I could really tell you as far as right now is concerned. So this will wrap up episode 0. I hope I covered just about everything. You'll get a whole lot better understanding of the game as soon as I start up. We'll go slow in the beginning, but we'll speed up with time. That way I can talk through things and, you know, be here for you when you get confused. If you have any questions, leave it in the chat and I will get back to you. Alright, bye-bye.